afternoon, good morning, wherever we are in the world. We are very excited to have this session for 12 days of DevRel in December. This session is going to be live, so feel free to ask your questions on LinkedIn, on Twitch, on Facebook, as well as on Twitter. Make sure to also sign up for the DevRel campaign for a chance to win 500 USD. I'm very excited today to have Sortak Kaya to talk about Hazelcast support. So welcome, Sortak. How are you?
Hey, Fawaz, thanks for having me. I'm great and happy to be here and talk to everyone about Hazelcast support. So this is not something I get the chance to do every day, so definitely excited.
Yeah, so what we wanted from this DevRel campaign basically is to highlight all functionality within Hazelcast. So I'm looking forward to hear from you. I think this is very important for any Hazelcast user to hear about the Hazelcast support. But before we start, maybe like a little bit introduction about yourself. Where are you based, and how long you've been with Hazelcast?
Absolutely. Uh, so I am Sertu. I am based in Istanbul, and I can say I am one of the old timers in the company. So I think this April it will be year 9 in Hazelcast. So I have joined as a solution architect, and as of today, I am director of the global support team within the company.
Yeah, great years. Like 9 years, like that is like really long time. So I'm looking forward for your experience with Hazelcast, and perhaps we just do a little bit introduction about the Hazelcast support program. What is it, and basically what do you offer within it?
Yeah, definitely. So Hazelcast, as you know, has started as an open source project like 10 something years ago, and then it became as of today, it became a Silicon Valley company with an enterprise offering and customers all around the world. So accordingly, we have also grew our customer facing departments, and customer support is one of those departments that we have within the company. So when I first joined, there were a customer facing unified team which were doing pre-sales, post-sales, consultation, and everything. And as the years passed by, we have divided that into separate teams like pre-sales, post-sales. All of those are separate organizations as of today. Customer support is also one of the organizations within Hazelcast, which comes into the picture in the post-sales.
Yeah, great to hear. I think this is really important, the way we actually linked all these sessions. So we had the customer success yesterday, and today we're talking about customer support. So maybe we talk a little bit about features of the customer support. So can you just describe the quarterly feature review and roadmap?
Sure, definitely. I can try to talk to you like what support is and what are the services that we provide, feature review being one of them. So we have a team of solution architects located in different parts of the world, which gives us 724 hours coverage in all days of the year. And whenever a Hazelcast paid customer requires assistance, they can reach out to us any time of the day. And those support requests can be urgent production incidents or use case questions. Or in addition to that, as you said, we do quarterly check-ins with customers. That's a joint effort which we do with customer success team and customer support team side by side. So based on that customer's Hazelcast journey, we come together with that customer, and if there's any pain points, we proactively discuss how to resolve any pressing issues, if any.
That's great. So also the hotfix patches, can you just describe a little bit about what it is and what you offer within it?
Absolutely. So, uh, whenever a customer is initiating a support request, they can specify the severity level. If so, we have four severity levels, which is the industry standard. Severity 4 and 3 are non-urgent questions on how to use the product or how to optimize the configuration, things like that. And we have severity level 2 and 1 for production incidents. And severity level 2 is my production is down, but I have a workaround. And severity level 1 is my production is down with no workaround, so it's all hands on deck, red alert situation. And our having a global team with 724 coverage ensures we respond those urgent requests timely, and we have SLAs to meet. So that's why we have people in every time zone. And if the issue turns out to be production, if the issue turns out to be a Hazelcast bug, we also work with engineering team internally, and engineering team then schedules a fix, and that fix is delivered to customer. And while that is being in the process, support team provides a workaround to the customer to unblock their situation. So every customer gets access to those hot fixes.
I assume security is on top of the list when it comes to customer support. So, can you just describe what security measurements for security vulnerability fixes that you offer, and also why it is important and critical for customers?
Absolutely. So one major portion of the customers we have today is financial institutions, governmental institutions. So companies like that have strict policies in place when it comes to security. And as a company supporting those customers, we also have internal processes to meet up with industry standards and those customer expectations. So every Hazelcast release, as part of our internal release process, we have security scans, and at the time of the every Hazelcast release, if there is any critical or high security vulnerability, we fix those before making the product accessible to everyone. But there might be a security vulnerability which emerges the day after. For example, when you made a release and the next day there is an urgent 0-day vulnerability, like we had a couple of years back, the log4shell incident, for example. In such cases, similar to hot fixes, we again initiate our internal processes and schedule a fix for that vulnerability ASAP. So in addition to regular security vulnerability scans in release cycles, outside of those release cycles, we also proactively fix if any security vulnerability is detected.
Yeah, this is great to hear. I think it's very important when it comes to security to make sure that these fixes are implemented as soon as possible. I just wanted to mention to anyone watching us now live or in recorded mode, we do have a hazelcast.com/support if you want to access to Hazelcast support. And we also have the community Slack to offer support for individuals who are using the platform in the community edition. So if you have a specific use case, individual use case, you can ask questions on the community Slack. Obviously, if you have a business or you have Hazelcast in production, we would encourage you to actually use the Hazelcast support. Can you describe the support policy or the most important elements in the support policy, or how does it work?
Sure. So any Hazelcast customer is given access to our support portal, which can be accessed by everyone actually by going to support.hazelcast.com. We have public documents there, and for paying customers, they can log in by their support portal account that will be given to them as part of their customer onboarding process. So support policy defines the scope of Hazelcast support services, the SLA for the Hazelcast enterprise customers. For example, we have 1 hour of reply time for level one incidents. So, however, I can confidently say that we usually pick up those cases and reply within the first 5 or 10 minutes. Why? Thanks to having a global team. So support policy basically is a legal document which defines the scope of support services, responsibilities of Hazelcast, and also responsibilities of the customer, what they should do before reaching out to support, what information they should be providing us when they need our assistance.
Yeah, I just want to give shout out to our support team now who are actually listening to us. You are actually superheroes. So thanks so much for your efforts here. I'm looking forward to this question here. So can you describe the most use cases or most tickets that you receive? And perhaps then we dive into solutions and also. So, but just start with the most common use cases that you have in the support ticket system.
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, as you know, Hazelcast is a distributed system. Uh, Basically, when it comes to distributed systems, for most people, it can be a new topic. It can be an alien topic. There is a lot of multi-threading and concurrency involved, and also anticipating the load beforehand is something very important. So I would say configuration of various modules of the product is easily the number one topic if I want to classify the request we get. And when it comes to configuration, if you ask me to further drill down in what configuration, uh, so as you know, Hazelcast is it gives you various data structures, and I think IMAP is by far one of the most popular data structures we have, which is an extension of Java concurrent hash map. So we get a lot of questions around configuration of the IMAP, or for enterprise customers, also one replication is a popular topic. But in general, cluster sizing and concurrency related questions falls into configuration umbrella is the number one thing we receive. And I think the next thing is use case questions, like how can I do this with Hazelcast? uh, how can I utilize Hazelcast better? How can I optimize the performance? So the use case questions are the number two in the list, I would say.
Okay, that's great to hear. So, what would you recommend for our customers to do before contacting support?
Okay. I think the first thing the team would want me to say is logs and configurations. So getting the logging right before something happens is crucial, because without detailed logs of the cluster, uh, it's not possible to make a proper diagnosis. So there are several ways to monitor the cluster. So actually, I can come to that, but before uh, going into that, I think cluster sizing is important. So what is the maximum expected load and what is the resources that I should allocate to my cluster? Of course, you can always add or remove members on the go dynamically, but also having available infrastructure to be able to do that whenever needed is something important. Um, so basically doing the homework before go live and reaching out to us if any questions is something vital, I would say. And yeah, logs and configuration files, having proper logging in place saves the day when there is a level 1 incident, because assume that your production is down and you don't have logging in place, and what you can do is setting up logging, restarting the system back, and waiting for the issue happen again so you can capture necessary log files. So logging is vital, and as an addition to logging, Hazelcast has its own diagnostics logging in addition to Hazelcast logs. So diagnostic logging is basically Hazelcast, where Hazelcast spits out uh, hundreds of system related metrics into a separate file. And so if you need to do a deep dive on a hairy problem, having diagnostics goes a long way. So diagnostic files, log files, and Hazelcast configuration files, having those handy in case of a support request is definitely helps us in a great way. And that's also documented in our support portal, support.hazelcast.com. Like, what should I do before initiating a support request? We list everything we might need on the support portal.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I think this is very important just to go through this documentation before contacting support to make sure that all log messages and configurations are set so it becomes easier to debug and provide support. I just want to plug in here a session for our solution architect, Neil Stevenson, for best practices in 2 days' time on the same DevRel campaign. So make sure anyone watching us now live to watch us on basically 14 golden rules for using Hazelcat, which I think is a great content, especially for our customers as well. So to go just back, any best practices that you want to highlight for in terms for customer support? Are there any like initial steps, or what would you recommend in terms of deploying Hazelcast and using it in production?
Definitely. So funny you mentioned the 14 rules that Neil came up with. I'm actually a big fan of that work as well. And we also make sure to use it or share it with customers whenever needed. So uh, it definitely recaps what should be done in a very good way. So we have, in similar sense, we have a production checklist in Hazelcast documentation. So it also nicely covers what should be done before going into production in terms of having enough system resources, do's or don'ts in specific environments, and sizing your cluster properly, and picking up the correct serialization method, for example, because we are talking about a distributed system and every bit of data will need to be serialized before you can send it over the cluster, right? So picking up the right thing for your use case. So you will notice that I mention use case a lot because uh, Hazelcast is very flexible and very powerful product if you can tailor it to your needs. And we see a lot of customers underutilizing Hazelcast. For example, in a simplest way, if you are manipulating the data on your cluster, most the first thing that comes to mind is fetching the data, manipulating it, and then putting it back. But we have powerful features where you can execute the send the business logic over to the cluster and execute it there with anti-processors or executor services, or even better with a stream capabilities. So um, those things, of course, no one is a Hazelcast customer on day one, and that's why we have a global team of solution architects to point out the customers the best practices based on their use case.
Yeah, this is great to hear. I think this is very important, especially when it comes to mission critical applications where you don't want your cluster to fail when you actually have, a spike in your data, or even like over weekends where nobody is available. So I'm really glad to hear about our customer support over 24/7 and all over the globe. So can you just describe from your experience leading the team why it is critical for businesses to use Hazacast support? Why, especially when it comes to mission critical applications, is the only solution is to use Hazacast support in terms of business value?
Absolutely. So, getting the most out of your cluster and utilizing the resources properly. So Hazelcast is working. So I think one of the strongest features of Hazelcast is the simplicity. Now, one and two, default configurations works for most use cases. But if you want to beef up your cluster, and if, for example, you have a healthy cluster, but let's say you are a retail company and comes Black Friday and the load you have is doubled than the average, and your cluster might be working fine until that day, but when that day comes, you might have some issues in terms of the performance or memory pressure. So in such cases, it is important to have talked with someone with the product expertise. Of course, it might not happen in all cases. So on Black Friday, you have a problem, and what do? You have to have someone on the call, right? You have to at least have a workaround to be able to get out of that situation. And um, so in Hazelcast support, that's basically, of course, I don't want to say we saved the day. It would sound like a superhero uh, thing, but so like we have, for example, to give you just a brief glimpse on the stats. So each quarter, in average, we get 350 support requests from our customers, and that makes like 1,400 cases per year. And I think if just looking at the metrics in a hindsight, we 200 of them are urgent support requests, like level 1 and level 2 cases, and all of them are of course resolved. So we have hundreds of customers globally, and to recap, we get 1,400 support requests per year, and around 200 of them are production level problems. So in there were 200 over 200 production incidents all around the world, and people reach out to us to fix that. Not only fix that, fixing that in a timely basis.
Yeah, I think this is very important to actually highlight. If you have a business and you have a customers, please don't rely on our community Slack. Make sure to reach out to our Hazelcast support and our professional team to get this sorted as soon as possible. So, but at the same time, if you're listening to us now and you would like to join the community, we have various channels. So we have a community newsletter, we have a Twitch where we do live streams. We have the community Slack as well. If you have individual use case or you want to know how to get up and start with the Hazelcast, our tutorials and our documentation. So this is really useful to hear from you, Shortak. So I'm gonna finish off now with rapid questions. So hopefully this is okay. It's not gonna be support questions. So there is no SLA on this one, but it will be nice just to get these questions started. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
coffee or tea?
Coffee or tea? So yeah, as a Turkish person, I can't escape from tea, and I love tea, but also in the mornings I can't do without a Turkish coffee.
Okay. And pizza or pasta?
Uh, Both.
A morning meeting or afternoon meeting?
Um, Afternoon meeting, definitely.
So anyone watching us now, make sure to make appointment or a call up in the afternoon. So favorite movie or a book you're reading or last watched?
Yeah, one of my favorites is Dune. I have watched the movie, and also I have started reading the novels. It's a six-book series, and I think I'm in book four right now. So I can talk in a separate session about Dune, I would say.
Yeah, sure. Android or iOS?
um, iOS.
Okay. Any sports or hobby outside work?
Outside of work, uh, soccer is something big in my country, and I'm also a soccer fan, both watching and playing. And as the company employees located in Turkey, we also have this every Thursday we have a soccer night. We play soccer games between each other. So I would say soccer is definitely my one of my favorite hobbies.
Great to hear. I'm looking forward to join you when I travel to Istanbul. So, with that being said, a big shout out to our team in Turkey and big shout out also to our customer support team. I just wanted to thank you for your time. I know you're busy. Any final thoughts or any final words you want to say to our customers?
Um, so thanks for having me. And any final say to our customers? Yeah, I think we have a great customer base. So sometimes we get support requests, which is very well elaborated. So it makes our jobs a lot easier. So we have some customers which are Hazelcast experts, and it's a joy to work with our customers in general. And so having support is like solving a different puzzle every day, and getting customer help on finding out the problem and solving the puzzle side by side with the customer is what we do on a daily basis. So it's not a one-sided job. Customers and support team doing this all together.
Yeah, this is great to hear. Thanks so much for your time, Sartak. And for anyone watching us, make sure to join up and sign up for the 12 Days of DevRel campaign. It's basically 12 days of consecutive streaming. And I'm looking forward for tomorrow's session with our Director of Engineering. So make sure to sign up as well. Link down below. Thanks, Sartak. Have a good day.
Thank you for us. Have a nice day. Bye bye.